Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we are going to be doing a list of the top 10 worst Star Wars Black Series ever released. Now, as always, if you like this video and want to see more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it really helps out the channel. Another thing to mention too is, if you like any of the figures on this list, that's totally fine. This list is just for fun, just kind of a goofy thing to round out the end of the year. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Coming in at number 10 is Commander Holdo. Now, honestly, this is a figure that isn't terrible. Frankly, the face sculpt on it and the face printing tech looks really good. But I think where this figure is let down is in the soft goods department. I mean, honestly, the figure looks like it's wearing a giant purple tube sock, and I think it totally kills the figure. I think that they could have done almost any other thing to try and make this figure look presentable. Another thing too is that this figure just has a boring design. At the end of the day, she's not like a crazy alien or somebody in armor or anything like that. She's just a woman in a purple dress, and I think that that totally kills this figure, makes it kind of a boring figure for the Star Wars Black Series lineup. Coming in at number 9, we have got the original Black Series Yoda figure. Now this thing has a ton of problems, and we'll go through all of them, I promise. The first one is that he's way too tall. I swear he's like almost an inch taller than he needs to be, and it looks strange when you've got him in a lineup. The next one is his weird proportions. It seems like his arms drag down to his ankles like a gorilla, and it just looks strange overall when you've got the figure posed in kind of a neutral position. The next one up is the terrible soft goods. For a figure that's only like 3 inches tall, he should have had sculpted robes. Cloth just doesn't work well at that scale, and even then they chose a really cheap material that I don't think looks good, personally. And then finally, to round it all off, is the terrible articulation. And honestly, some of the articulation isn't bad. He's got double-jointed elbows, which I think kind of contributes to the gorilla arm problem, but his legs don't have any articulation at the knees. They're literally like tree trunks, and it totally kills any posability for this figure in the lower body. Coming in at number 8, we've got the original Emperor Palpatine figure, and again, this is another figure that's let down by his soft goods. He's got a hood that totally doesn't work at this scale, and honestly probably should have been sculpted and then laid over a fabric robe. And then he has the opposite problem on the lower body, where for some reason Hasbro decided to sculpt his lower robes. That totally doesn't make sense for a character that you want to be sitting down in a throne. One thing I will say is that a lot of these problems are kind of fixed in the later Amazon exclusive release, but honestly, for a character like the Emperor, I don't feel like we should have to make any compromises. Coming in at number 7, we have got the First Order officer figure, and at a glance, this figure looks totally fine, but on closer inspection is where we find the real problem. For some reason, Hasbro decided to sculpt this guy's head completely smooth as if he were bald, and then paint a terrible fade on top of it. I mean, honestly, what was Hasbro thinking? The only reason that this figure isn't lower on the list is because you can use his hat to cover up that abomination on his head. Coming in at number 6, we've got the Revenge of the Sith version of Obi-Wan. And again, this is another figure where the base body is perfectly fine. It's just Hasbro's terrible paint job that ruins the figure. Honestly, this figure's face paint is so terrible that I didn't even buy one, even though he's my favorite character and this is my favorite version of the character. Hopefully, the Archive series release of this figure will fix that problem, because we've seen what Hasbro can do with other versions of Obi-Wan. I don't know what they were thinking on this one, though. Coming in at number 5, we've got the carbonized Boba Fett figure, and I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. The base body on this figure is perfectly fine. I own multiple versions of it, but for some reason, Hasbro decided to paint all of the cloth parts of Boba Fett's armor in metallic paints. It's just a really strange choice, and I think the figure looks strange overall. Now, had they just painted the metal parts of Boba Fett's armor metallic, this figure probably wouldn't be on this list at all. Again, what was Hasbro thinking? Coming in at number 4, we've got the Emperor's Wrath Darth Vader figure. And honestly, this is a really cool idea for a Darth Vader figure, but the execution is terrible. They used this really dark, cloudy purple for the helmet of Darth Vader, and it's so cloudy, in fact, that you can't even see the skull that they molded into this purple piece. Now, honestly, if Hasbro wanted to make this figure work, they should have included some sort of electrical effects to give us context, but what we got was basically a Darth Vader that looks like he's got a helmet made out of purple hard candy. The figures coming in at the number 3 spot have caused a ton of contention in the Star Wars community. Some people love them and others hate them. Now, personally, I hate these figures. Now, that is why I am giving the entire Star Wars Holiday series a spot at number 3, because otherwise they would basically take up this entire list. Now, I understand that these figures are intended to be used as holiday decorations, but that does not excuse them for being some of the ugliest Star Wars Black Series figures. I mean, honestly, the paint jobs on these are totally garish and completely ugly. Now, I know that they're done in Christmas colors, but honestly, come on, the designers at Hasbro could have done a better job on these figures. One thing I will say is I think that this idea is potentially redeemable. They could have done these figures in metallic gold, metallic red, metallic green, and still had them kind of fit into the Star Wars universe without looking like a Christmas mess. So honestly, hopefully Hasbro will do better for us next year. Coming in at number 2, we have got the A New Hope Luke Skywalker. This is another figure let down by terrible soft goods. I mean, honestly, why did Hasbro not sculpt Luke's tunic? It doesn't make any sense at all. It looks cheap. It doesn't lay properly. I have no idea what they were thinking with this figure. And then on top of that, he looks like he's wearing clown shoes. I mean, his feet are absolutely enormous. And then, you know, it's from an era before the face printing tech, so not even his face paint is good. There is no redeeming qualities to this figure. It's one of my least favorite Black Series figures of all time, and it's such an iconic costume for Luke Skywalker. This figure 100% needs to be redone. Hasbro, step up your game. Finally, coming in at number 1, we have the Princess Leia Organa figure. And again, it's another figure completely destroyed by terrible soft goods. Honestly, when will Hasbro learn? And that is not even the worst part. This figure has some of the worst face paint I have ever seen and an even worse face sculpt. Honestly, it looks like a bootleg figure. This character is so iconic and this costume is so iconic, and frankly, it deserves more. So let me know down in the comments section below if you agreed with my list, anything you would change, anything that you would keep, and I guess I'll see you guys later.